Shout out to the sponsors, the Divi Project. That's diviproject.org, one-click masternode staking solutions with their on and off fiat ramps and their card coming soon. Another sponsor of the podcast is Monarch Token. MonarchToken.io is the complete crypto solution. Check out the Monarch wallet on Android or iOS devices today. All right, and we're back. Sorry about that technical difficulties, the woes of doing a live stream. All right, so we're going to try to start this over since we were only 5 minutes in before. How goes it? I'm Ken Bozak, and I'm here to talk about crypto. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin and Bitcoin accessories. I'm here with my bro, Pauline Shangett of ChangeNOW, and we met in Las Vegas at World CryptoCon. I hate to do this. We just did this part, but the internet ruined it. Pauline, can you please introduce yourself to the audience again? Quick, let them know who you are, how you got into the space, and what you're doing with ChangeNOW.
Of course, no worries, Ken. These things happen sometimes. So, all right, everyone. My name is Pauline. I am Chief Marketing Officer for ChangeNOW. It's an instant crypto exchange service. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I got into the crypto space a year and a half ago. These have been the craziest 18 months of my life, and I absolutely love it. I got into the space by, with the help of my professor, who is friends with our CEO. She introduced us, we really clicked, and that's where I am right now. And in ChangeNOW, I guess my title says it, I run the marketing department. There are 4 of us, and together we're trying to make ChangeNOW the most well-known crypto business on the block, so to say.
So what does ChangeNOW do exactly, and how do you do it?
So essentially, as I already mentioned, it's an instant crypto exchange service. So for example, you have LTC and you would like to exchange it for Ether, I guess, or any other of the 200 cryptos that are currently listed on the service. Regularly, in order to do that, you would have to go on an exchange like Binance or Bittrex, but there, you have to do a lot of unnecessary labor for that. You have to create an account, you have to get KYC'd, you have to know at least a little bit about trading in order to do stuff like that. We do all of this stuff for you in just 3 clicks. So imagine Shapeshift, but without mandatory registration, without mandatory KYC, more coins, better support, overall a lot easier to use service.
So one of the main things you mentioned was the KYC, and I gotta respect Eric Voorhees for his original stance by basically giving New York the middle finger, but then eventually he bowed to them and implemented KYC on Shapeshift. How does ChangeNOW avoid those things like having to implement KYC? And do you believe that it could be a potential that ChangeNOW may have to do KYC in the future?
Well, when I said no mandatory KYC, I didn't say no KYC at all, right? So we have a risk management system implemented that checks every transaction for maliciousness. So if, for example, you have a transaction that has been flagged by our risk management system, there is a set of criteria which I'm not going to disclose because they're kind of secret, otherwise people would abuse them.
Right.
It does get stopped for KYC. The percentage, however, is fairly low because our service is used by good people who are legitimate folks. If you would like to refuse the KYC procedure for some reason, you have the right to refuse and you will receive a refund, with the exception of the addresses that have been involved in exchange hacks. Okay. So if you're a hacker who stole money from an exchange and you try to pass the money through us, you will most likely not be able to do that because we will KYC.
But even they will get their coins back if they decide not to go through the KYC. So is it like a smart contract escrow, or is it a custodial escrow?
I think it's smart contract escrow.
Okay, so no. Like ChangeNOW doesn't actually have possession of the keys?
Okay, yeah, I might have mistaken a little bit. So it is a custodial escrow. We do keep our money, like we do keep the money that's been stopped for KYC until either the KYC procedure is passed or for example, the exchange that lost the coins comes to claim them. We do keep them on our own cold wallets.
Oh, so if somebody tries to use stolen coins through Change Now, an exchange can rightfully claim what is provably theirs.
Yeah, with
Awesome.
like if they do have documents from law enforcement, like we've had several cases with Bithumb, Bitrue, GateHub, and I think one other exchange that I can't really remember the name of. They were able to provide an official request from FBI, I think, and there was Korean police and some other law enforcement agencies. Um, they provide the documents, and then we were able to to return the money to their original owners. And the amount of of the cases, like the money involved in the cases, was around $1.5 million.
Oh,
Like,
wow. So you are really helping people get their crypto back from these, malicious actors.
oh yeah.
That is awesome. Yeah, I mean, I mean, a lot of these exchanges would just welcome the volume. Like you could just use, Binance for whatever reasons, and they're not really helping get the community's coins back. I think if at one point they want to do a rollback, but yeah, that is awesome that you are doing that.
Well, yeah, I mean, when there was the possibility of like CZ instigating a rollback, there's been a lot of noise on the internet about how he was not really right in doing that because that goes against the spirit of like decentralization.
Right. If the coins are stolen, then you just work with these, exchanges and these solutions, and like what you used to help get them back from the people that are trying to basically tumble and mix them around. Uh,
Exactly.
and that's a better solution than trying to do a rollback. And hey, Bit Native, thank you very much for the shout out. They said, "What's good, Pauline and Ken?" Yeah. Yeah, I think we were talking before the internet cut out about how much we still need to get rest after Vegas. I mean, World CryptoCon was crazy. That was a long week for me. Did you attend the Litecoin Summit and Coin Agenda, or was it just World CryptoCon?
Yeah, we came for the entire Vegas blockchain week. It was kind of slow during Coin Agenda and
Oh,
like
that was so slow.
yeah, it was like I remember the exhibition room over at Coin Agenda. There were like three booths occupied in total. There was just like a big old empty room with like three people in there. It was kind of sad.
Yeah, I feel bad for Michael Turpin for sure, because there was probably 20 people in attendance total, and they all had booths, and they weren't even at the booths because there was nobody to talk to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we did listen, like our team did listen to some of the sessions, and they were pretty good. But when it came to like sponsoring booths, it was really, really sad.
Yeah, I feel bad for those people who had booths for Coin Agenda. I mean, I just think it was bad timing. I think being the first event, because Litecoin Summit, I think the Litecoin community is a little bit more engaging. So I think if the
Yeah.
Litecoin Summit maybe kicked off the blockchain week, it may have had a bigger attendance to roll into Coin Agenda the following days, because Litecoin Summit was pretty poppin'.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty lively, and there have been some seriously cool people out there with whom we've been able to like network and stuff. So that was fun.
What kind
Uh,
of partnerships or anything, if you can talk, or did like anything come out of blockchain week for Change Now?
we've got like a pretty solid amount of relevant leads for like both our business development department and for me, because for me it's getting in touch with people like you
Mm-hmm.
and some other marketing agencies and PR agencies and people who are doing podcasts and interviews. I've got a lot of those. Um, and as for our business development team, we've got connections with several like pretty big wallets, which haven't integrated our API yet, but they will fairly soon,
Oh,
which
so
is
you'll
awesome.
see Change Now just chilling in a wallet as an option for exchanging currencies between one another.
We have a pretty decent amount of wallets which do have us chilling inside.
Oh,
And like the biggest are Exodus, Trezor, Edge
okay.
Wallet. Ledger has a referral link right now. They're going to integrate us via API a little bit later, I believe. Also, Atomic Wallet and several other like
Wow,
smaller.
congrats. I mean, how old is Change now?
2 years.
You move
We turned two.
fast. Oh, that's happy birthday to Change Now. I mean, you guys are killing it. That's a lot of like I would say very reputable products to be associated with. As a means of exchanging currencies between one another because it's not easy to pass those companies' versions of due diligence. It's one thing to have your own app and your own solutions, but to be incorporated onto other products that have been around for like the decade of Bitcoin's entire life. It's amazing to see you guys doing that. So, what have been some of maybe like the hardships that you've seen with Change Now when it comes to like the service that it provides and the solutions that had to kind of come to fix those?
You mean the harshest what?
Like what was some of the hardships that the
Oh,
project faced kind of getting to where it's at today? I don't know if maybe regulations or security or actually like I don't know the code itself. What were just like maybe some of the things that are braggable, like hey, this is what we had to overcome.
okay, yeah, for sure. So essentially, when it comes to regulations, right now, FATF is trying to bite people in the ass, especially when it comes to like crypto-related businesses, which is not really cool, but they do what has to be done. Right now, we're sort of like we're still staying afloat. We are allowed to do things that we do right now. For example, like not going full shapeshift and making everyone do KYC or providing refunds to people who wouldn't like to pass the KYC procedure and whatnot. So right now it's all good, but no one knows what might happen tomorrow or in a year or in 2 years. That's the main problem with businesses that are so dependent on regulations because you never know what's going to happen in any given amount of time.
Is Change Now an American company?
No, we're registered
Huh.
in Belize, which
Good,
is,
because then you don't have to worry about American regulations.
well, technically, as per our terms of use, we are not really allowed to serve customers from the US, but we don't do IP tracking. And the only time we might know where you're from is when you're passing the KYC procedure. So as soon as you're not KYC, you're totally completely fine. So that,
Respect. That's some cypherpunk anarchy right there. Barely legal. I fucks with that.
yeah, we're doing our best. And as for other stuff, we're constantly trying to, like, make our service better. We're trying to make the rates better so that people can exchange their money like at the best possible rate. So we're not only comfortable, but also really like profitable.
Right. I was just going to talk about rates and profitability for
Yeah,
Change
like
Now. How does
we're
Change Now make money? Like how does it profit from the service it provides?
uh, well, we don't really have fees per se. Um, we're really good traders, so most of our income comes from that. And what we make off of every transaction varies from zero point 0.2 to 0.6%. It depends on the trade. Right now, we're trying to make the spreads tighter, which is also like why our development team is so hard at work trying to make everything better. So hopefully, right now, I mean, not right now, but like in the shortest time possible, we'll try to make our service like very, very user friendly, not only interface wise, but also money wise.
Wanted to say shout out to Painful Human. I see you in the chat. What up, Zombie 3D? Amina, I love you. Bit Data says I'm interested in knowing more about Change Now Premium. So, Change Now Premium. What is the premium and what does it offer outside of like just a normal end user experience with the project?
So ChangeNOW Premium is basically ChangeNOW, but as an account. So you know how on ChangeNOW we don't really need we don't need our customers to create any sort of account, which is really good. But for people who are ready to create an account and ready to enjoy some benefits like better rates, a personal account manager, and some other sweet stuff, they can create an account on ChangeNOW Premium, which is in beta right now. Upload their KYC documents in there and like not worry about them ever again. So that's gonna be, I guess that's gonna be something that looks sort of shapeshiftish. But the thing is that it's not mandatory. So if you're up to that, you're good. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to.
And most people that want to do their taxes and track all of these trades and things, they really want to do this. So this is for
Yeah.
those people that specifically are above board traders. And a lot of us are sort of anarchist traders, I would say, where we're just like, I ain't paying taxes on my cryptos. But a lot of people that are trading are trying to track these things, and a lot of services are starting to come out to help with tracking of the APIs for exchanges to make sure that you don't miss any ins and outs, so you don't have to worry about anything if you do get audited. And that's like a really important option to have for more serious traders. Well,
Yep.
now where do these coins come from, right? If I'm sending in Bitcoin to Change Now and I'm receiving Litecoin, am I receiving Change Now's Litecoin, or am I receiving somebody else's Litecoin that wanted to receive Bitcoin?
Uh, it depends on the exchange flow. On Classic, we draw our liquidity from several exchanges at the moment. Those are Binance Bitfinex, Huobi, and OKX, soon to be Kraken. And when it comes to fixed rate, like the fixed rate flow, when I guess you could call it shapeshift precise kind of thing. So we lock the rate for you for 20 minutes. And those exchanges do come from our own liquidity.
Okay, that's awesome. So like, yeah, it provides more of a stable environment
Yeah.
for people.
Uh, and Actually, tell you what, our fixed rate exchanges at the moment on amounts less than one BTC, they actually might be even more profitable than classic rate. So keep an eye on that.
Oh, definitely, guys. See, dropping the inside facts. Yeah, I see you in the chat. Who was that? I wanted to make sure. Not BTC advice and crypto cliff notes. Yo, yo. He said, what other sites are you streaming on? Technically, I think I'm streaming on like 6 platforms. I know I'm on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, D Live, Float, Twitter, Periscope, all of these different platforms. I'm live my podcast is decentralized, y'all. They can't shut me down. If Twitter wants me gone, I'm still on YouTube. YouTube wants me gone, I'm on D Live. If something happens to D Live, you can catch me on Float. I don't try to centralize my content for ad revenue from AdSense because everybody has to go to YouTube to watch my podcast. You don't have to even leave your Twitter account. Just pop it on. So if anybody has any questions or topics, yeah, feel free. I'm keeping an eye on the chat. I appreciate everybody out there. So I wanted to get into like maybe not to I guess pick fights or whatever, but to kind of highlight the elephants in the room that are we mentioned Shapeshift and the other competitors in the market like Changely and things like that but what is like your roadmap for really setting yourselves apart from the competitors in the markets that do kind of do what you're offering with your product?
Well, essentially, our main goal, like our main big thing, is to make a better, more customer friendly service than our direct competitors. So,
Yeah, they've
for
been
us,
around for a while and they look the damn. It's embarrassing how like the UI UX ratio of user experience sucks.
yeah, exactly. And our success rate is, I believe, higher than any of our competitors. So we're just trying to make sure that every customer of ours walks away happy. And we're ready to provide, like, next to all of the conditions that are necessary. Also, we have more coins and we're safer, more secure. We're non custodial, we don't have accounts. And in the future, we're planning on introducing like more newer projects that will truly make Change Now sort of like, a one stop shop for all of your crypto needs. So, if you're like a no coiner who would like to dabble with crypto for a little bit, they can just come onto our service, They can buy crypto, they can exchange crypto, they can set up a payment gateway with crypto, they can set up a node for developing a dApp, for example. And we're going to have like a lot more of that stuff coming up fairly soon, I believe.
Cool, cool, cool. I'm excited. Painful Human says, "What's your favorite coins personally?" Ooh, I'll go first. Bitcoin. Bitcoin. No, yeah, definitely Bitcoin's Bay. I appreciate Litecoin and everything Litecoin has done for Bitcoin, and I think Dash is underappreciated for the alternative privacy options that it provides. Things like Decred that work on proof of like hybrid blockchains like proof of work, proof of stake, things like that. I think that these things are all contributing to potentially make Bitcoin a better Bitcoin, because anything your altcoin can do, Bitcoin can do better if the Bitcoin core devs decide to do it. So if it's worthwhile, it's for Bitcoin eventually. So I appreciate them all, but those are the ones I personally appreciate. What about you, Paulina?
Well, I guess Bitcoin is the crypto daddy, so to say, and like nothing can replace Bitcoin. Um, and I believe like it's gonna be like that for a long time to come. As for some altcoins, I do hold a little bit of thesis because it did have a promise, and I believe it still has. There are some things happening within the community, and also I really like faster blockchains with like cheaper coins, which are like super utilitarian, like Digibyte and Verge. And I would also like to like give a shout out to those communities because those guys are crazy.
I'm
They
rocking my Digibyte socks right now.
dope, dope. You should rock them proudly because like those coins are really really good. I also do like Litecoin because digital silver also really dope, really cool. And I guess there's been this dark horse that no one really talks about. It's Factum. I talked to a guy from Factum a while back, and they've been doing a lot of stuff under wraps. But when he told me what was going on at the moment, it was crazy because it was not even about the coin; it was about the blockchain that was doing so many amazing things, and I believe it's super cool.
Yeah, I've talked to the Factum guys a few times. There's some OGs up in their team for sure. Oh, and we forgot the best. I think even better than Bitcoin. I can't believe I forgot there was a coin better than Bitcoin that we didn't mention. Doge.
Yeah,
Big shout out to
I knew
Doge.
I knew you would say that. I knew it. You would say that.
I was seeing if you were gonna say it, that I had to like lead up the "oh my god, it's better than Bitcoin" thing, and then everybody was like, "I'm leaving this podcast." Dislike.
I mean, of course, memes are great, and Dogecoin is like the best meme coin. So,
So, how do you personally use crypto for yourself? Like me, I use it. I use it. It's my everyday money. I don't really use much US dollar. I hodl everything. 100% of my portfolio is crypto. If I have to use fiat, I have to like find somebody to buy some crypto from me, or I have to do some form of a trade or an exchange to get some cash. But do you like trade? Do you hodl? Do you like play any blockchain games? I'm just curious, like, how do you utilize any of this tech in your life?
um, I mean, where I live personally, there is no like in my particular region, there is not really possibility to use crypto on on the daily. So I do have a little bit of BTC, I do have a little bit of Thesis, and I hold them hodl. I'm sorry, gotta use the correct terminology. I hodl them, and I'm just like looking for the correct opportunity to spend them. And so does my mom. My mom also hodls some BDC, which she is super excited about. She's like crazy.
See, I use Steam. I think right now I'm streaming on Vim.tv, and that goes right to like Steam it. And I use Steam's blockchain. I use Sense Chat, which is on like the EOS blockchain, and
Mhm.
so many different things. I just play around and actually use so much of this stuff. Like my phone is like 50-50, like 50 legacy default type apps and like 50% blockchain browser 3.0 type stuff. Even my business cards are NFTs. I literally have NFT business cards that are ERC 721s. And
That's oh,
Thank you. And at conferences, I've only gotten maybe 10 people to take my digital card because, they're just not on that level yet. Like, they're just, not quite there. They don't even have like an NFT wallet. So it's like really hard to, kind of get into that. But I feel like I'm sort of like pushing that into like a thing because I'm the guy that's going to the corner store saying, "Do you accept Bitcoin?" until they eventually do, and hopefully eventually these suits will start, maybe tokenizing their business cards because it's a good idea.
I mean, there are so many ways to tokenize our everyday lives. Wait, are your business cards, are they ERC-721
Yeah,
or are I'm gonna send you my wallet after this so you can send me one. Can you
yeah,
do that?
yeah. I've only minted a few business cards. I've actually minted one collectible of myself, and I've gotten $100 offer on OpenSea, but I don't want to sell it yet. I think I could get more later.
You gotta
I
hodl
only
that.
made
Yeah.
one. It's a one of one minted collectible of myself, my logo. So I got to be careful with how that goes out. I have some. I actually have some collectibles of myself with my logo on Engine's blockchain, which are backed by Engine, and
Mm-hmm.
on the Wax platform.
Oh,
So
sweet.
yeah, I even have my own shitcoin on Steam's blockchain called Ken. It's
Mm-hmm.
KENN, and it trades on the Steam Engine exchange. It's so funny. I play around way too much. I even have my own Waves coin because like Waves network, anybody can create their own token. Have you ever
Oh yeah.
tried it?
No, I personally haven't because we mostly dabble in the like on the EDH blockchain. Our partner, Garda Wallet, they have a thing called a token generator. So essentially, you can come to them and tell them like, "Yo, sup, I need a token," and they're just gonna make it for you, custom,
Gotcha.
but
That's pretty
only on the
gangster.
blockchain.
Can somebody in the chat, can you translate Mattia's comment? I do not know what that says, but thank you to whoever can translate that. They need now payments to help them to accept crypto payments. Yeah,
Oh,
that
you
engine
want to
mint
do
is
that?
better.
That's cool. If you'd like to add now payments on your either website or whatever you'd like to accept crypto payments, you can just reach out to our business development team. I can drop some contacts right now. Um, because like all you have to do is reach out. We're gonna work out all the logistics for you. All you have to do is ask, and if you need a particular coin or anything like that, we'll do our best to like get it for you. Because right now we're sort of gathering up an audience for the payment system, so we're basically down to whatever.
So with now payments, what is that exactly as a branch off of the change now?
So essentially, now payments started out. I think it was more than a year ago when we were approached by people from Pornhub who wanted to accept crypto. They were using coin payments, but they weren't really happy with how it all was turning out because coin payments, they're big. They have their own, like, they do have a lot of their own advantages, but they're custodial, which is the thing a lot of people don't really appreciate. Um, so now payments is a way for you to accept more than 30 cryptos at the moment. We're constantly adding new coins. Um, we have a widget, we have an API, we have a WordPress plugin. We're doing Shopify really
Nice.
soon. Um, so you can like do donations, you can do payments, you can like add it in your store or whatever. Um, and like the main thing, the coolest thing about it is that you're, for example, if you only want to accept Bitcoin, but you want to give your customers or audience or whoever else an opportunity to pay with more cryptos, they can do that. They can pay you in LTC. We're gonna like swap it to BTC momentarily, and then
Oh,
send
okay.
it to your wallet. And we don't hold any assets, and we don't charge any transactional fees except for the interest we take when we exchange our money. So,
Do you
for example,
support stablecoins?
yeah, yeah, we do have at the moment. I believe we have PAX and USDT, and we're adding some new ones fairly soon. So basically, if you would like to see a coin on now payments, you can just like give us a shout and we'll add it. It's
Well, I
no need.
mean, I think it's interesting to have a stable coin as an option for businesses to accept, even just accept Bitcoin, Litecoin, Doge, whatever.
Right.
Accept those, cryptocurrencies, but then be able to have this stability of a stable coin and not have to worry about, the same issues they have with, like, having to have a bank account or, cash on hand, but still have that same, stability and value, that a stablecoin provides, while also giving you the censorship resistance, unconfiscatability that crypto offers.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to take like so that I haven't lied to you. I'm gonna like I'm looking at the list of supported currencies and now payments, and we do accept True USD and Paxos, so I didn't lie on that one, and we do accept Tether.
True
And
USD is interesting, and I think maybe DAI is probably my favorite stablecoin. I've known that they had a little bit of an issue in the recent months with the price of Ethereum affecting their reserve and everything, but stability backed by math is, I think, the most sound security of stability there could be. Stability is, I think, like it's not a realistic term. You know what I mean? Like stability is sort of like love. You can't hold love. It doesn't really exist, but it does. It feels like it exists, and I feel like stability feels like it exists, even though nothing in life is stable. And even our
yeah,
stable coin should be volatile.
that's why they're called abstract terms because
Right.
you can touch them.
Well, I mean, like that's why I think like a stable coin is worth more than the dollar it's backed by, because it has more utility, more use case. Therefore, it provides more value,
Yeah, so it's like the dollar but better because it's not fiat.
and therefore it's worth more. And that's why I feel like there should be volatility to these stable coins, because there's stability or instability to the thing it's backed by.
Well, I mean, I agree with you like 50-50 because when we're talking about stable coins, they're still like we're talking about stability. So the price should not be as volatile as, say, BTC. But when we see like it growing, like the price growing slightly more than the dollar or whatever currency or asset it's pegged to, that means that crypto is better. That means that it has more utility and it's healthy.
Facts. Hey, I see you in the chat there, 44 Rob D. Shaq. I'm just going to say Shaq. Bit native still in there chatting around. But Rob D said XRP is the perfect stable coin, and I could not disagree anymore. I mean, I'll just start off with the issue that I think it's what 20 XRP that you need to have to even send a transaction or anything like that with their network. So that's pretty expensive when you look at their previous all-time high of like almost $4 at 20 XRP, and that's like locked in the wallet forever. And I mean, that starts to sound like a bank account to me. I don't like it.
Well, I mean, Ripple is a fairly big company. It's like a fairly big corporation right now, and there's been a lot of talk about whether whether XRP is really a crypto since it's pretty centralized. So I wouldn't go as far as to call it like a perfect stable coin.
Not at
I'm
all. Not at all. I think that the Ripple community will see that when J.P. Morgan and Fed Now and a lot of these other entities start to really get their footing in their developments. I don't see many banks looking at Ripple Labs as much as they're going to look at J.P. Morgan, and Fed Now is probably going to find a way to be implemented into the banking world by law, forced regulation into, sustainability of what Fed Now will offer. So I just don't think that they have a market to compete in anymore, but good luck with all that. And Ripple is a scam. That's just my opinion. I'm not an expert, but in my opinion, if it's similar to a bank and banks are a scam, then it's similar to a scam by being a scam.
guild by association.
Oof, isn't that true though? I mean, they're just it's the worst. But shout out to Stellar making moves, man. I see those guys out there just, whew, respect. And they're low key. They didn't even pump their shit. They just did it,
Yeah.
and then they announced it after the fact. There was no 5 weeks of wait till you see what we're cooking. It was like, hey guys, look what we did a few weeks ago. We're just gonna like nonchalantly like let that announcement out.
Yeah. Actually, I was gonna talk about it as soon as you mentioned Ripple, because what Stellar is doing right now is really cool, and it's not as corporate. I would say it's not like as corporatized as Ripple is right now, at least in my opinion.
Yeah,
Uh,
hash rate. I will be at Chainwise in Ohio. I actually fly out in like an hour, so I have to be on a plane in like 2 hours from now. What up, Spencer? But Ripple and Stellar are both Jed and McClay. Yeah, I know. But he left. Didn't he leave Ripple to start Stellar? So like, there's something to that. Same reason why I feel like there's something there Cardano with Charles. Eh. You just got to look at that.
Wait, did Charles Hoskinson actually leave Cardano? I think
No,
he's
no, he
still.
was with Ethereum, and then
Oh,
he
okay.
went on to make Cardano. So that's why
Yeah,
I give an eye to Cardano because look at where Ethereum's at.
yeah, I gotcha.
So, so in the end, banks lose. Yes, exactly, guys, exactly. So yeah, I wish you were headed out to ChangeWise. I think you mentioned earlier you're going to Singapore. What events out there?
We're like there will be two events going on like back to back. It's gonna be CoinMarketCap Capital Summit, I believe it's called, and Block Show Asia. We're going to Block Show and we're gonna be exhibiting here for a little bit. There's gonna be two of us, which is going to be probably a massive pain in the ass. But there will be a lot of people, a lot of like industry reps. It's probably going to be a B2B conference as well, but there are some really big names coming up, so we're really excited.
CoinMarketCap's doing their own conference.
Yeah, I believe it's like the first event they're doing.
Oh,
They picked
that's
Singapore because it's like it's a fairly big hub for anything coming up in Asia, and it's close to the states if they would like to fly out. Because I know the people I've met on WCC are going to Capital as well. Um,
I wonder if they're gonna show off their metrics for how many how many people they had in their downline on BitConnect, and show that to everybody and be like, if you guys have an MLM, you could put an advertisement on CoinMarketCap and look how good we did it for BitConnect. We could help you look legit too. And I mean, I gotta say, I hate CoinMarketCap for even allowing the 40% a month no risk banner to be put up on their website to promote BitConnect, and they've yet to apologize. And they had their own referral link; it was trackable. So,
well, I mean, at
not a
the
fan
time,
of them.
I think everyone believed in BitConnect, even
No,
though
nobody did. Nobody did. Nobody believed in that. Nobody.
everyone wanted to get rich and
Everybody
everyone
wanted
get
to believe in it.
fast.
Yes, exactly, exactly. And I mean, you know what though? If anything were like that to pop up again today, I don't believe it would have the ability to take advantage of people's gullibility. I feel like BitConnect served the industry probably one of the best services anything has ever done by bringing in people that just wanted more fiat and giving them that hard life lesson of what truly is a decentralized or custodial service where like when BitConnect exited and they realized they
Uh,
never had their private keys for their money.
Well, I mean, I do agree with you for like in a sense, since like people who have been in here for a while, they probably won't believe in any kind of like Ponzi scheme shit like BitConnect ever was. But at the same time, we're having a lot of no coiners who are like coming into the space, and those people are pretty gullible because when people are talking about crypto on the internet in the crowd that's not really like in it, they're talking about, oh, crypto's so cool. You can get rich blazing fast and you can get a lot of money right now. And people actually do believe that. I've talked to people who did think that crypto is not like, a tool for the future or anything like that. I was in a BlaBlaCar with a guy who had like an IQ option app on his laptop. So we started talking about crypto, and he was like, "Oh, crypto, that's the thing like you use to like make money, right? To get rich." And I was like, "No, dude, you don't really like it doesn't really work like that. I mean, you can get rich if you invest, but not all people think of crypto as a tool of like gaining revenues and stuff." So I think that BitConnect did like teach a lesson to some people, but I believe we as a community have to do more than that.
I just think, I'm with you. I totally agree on the newbies being gullible too. I just feel like, the horror story that BitConnect is, will be like one of those, events that echoes through, even every generation that ends up coming in. Because it was
I
such a massive exit. What was it at, like $5 billion or something at some point? Their
Yep.
market cap was pretty huge.
I mean, it was, I think, like the ATH was a hundred something dollars, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, what do you think about the SEC having nothing to do with bringing them down, right? Like, there was no success on finding out who was behind BitConnect. The SEC hasn't come to help anybody that has been a victim of BitConnect.
Well, I, c- I don't know if I should like if we as a community should like really blame them, because at the time I don't were SEC like that concerned with crypto back then when
No, I
BitConnect was.
think BitConnect actually got them interested because that's why I think YouTube and Facebook stopped allowing cryptocurrency advertisements on their platforms. A lot of people had a lot of referral links in their advertisements that they were posting, in like YouTube videos or on like Facebook, group chats, things like that.
Yeah, exactly. And I think BitConnect actually like it served as it was a good lesson for sure, but it also like it sort of triggered the SEC so that now they're extra cautious, which I believe has a pretty solid potential to hinder the development of the crypto market, especially in the States. Like, you know what happened with Ton a while back, like I think a month ago, when Ton was like Telegram's own blockchain was about to launch, and then SEC came around. They were like, "Nope, you're not doing that." And now, like, the launch has been delayed at least till spring, I think.
Well, I mean, you could even look at what EOS got away with
Oh yeah,
$4 billion ICO over a 1 year period. And I think they got slapped with something of what, $27 million, which is
I think.
absolutely nothing when you think about how much money they raised.
Yeah, exactly. So for them, it's just like, taking a wall and taking like a $10 bill out. And just like,
Yeah, they had that in their back pocket for sure. And they probably had more than that set aside. And they were just like, well, rainy day fund. We can get a Lambo now.
maybe they have like, an SEC jar.
Yeah, like a swear jar. I love it. That is great. So they're gonna need it with a lot of these casino dApps. And that's
Yep.
what I worry about. Like, when we say decentralized and there's a CEO, how are you fucking decentralized when you have a CEO? You know what I mean? Like, at some point, if Vitalik is detained by any government entity, that will affect Ethereum. It will affect the price. It'll affect the team. It'll affect it. Because at some form of level, I know he's not the CEO, but he is appointed a deity, and that is a problem, with centralization in a sense. And then we have these other projects, that just clearly have a board or a leadership of some sort, and I know that their currencies are decentralized, but the platforms are not.
But then again, from what I know, it's pretty hard, at least like these days, it's pretty hard to manage like a truly decentralized coin. Because when you have a board of directors and like people who are in charge, people who are in charge of the code, people who are in charge of updates and stuff, they normally tend to release stuff faster and it's like easier to manage. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I might
No.
be.
No, you're right. I
Uh,
mean, that's why Litecoin implemented SegWit much faster than Bitcoin did because Charlie Lee was like, do this. And everybody was like, all right, boss, you got it, And if
yeah,
Satoshi would have said, let's get Mimble Wimble going, we would have it. So leadership at some point does have value. I think Bitcoin's decentralization is probably one of its best and worst attributes to itself when it comes to progression.
Yep, exactly. I mean, decentralization is something that everyone should strive towards, I believe. But then again, if you don't really have leadership, if you don't really have any sort of leadership or like at least like positive influence, not many things are going to happen as fast as you would like them to.
Yeah, no, you're right, and we've seen this happen with projects like look at Steam It when Dan left. It pretty much has become all that it will ever be. It's pretty much just done, forever stuck in a beta purgatory, and a lot I feel like projects may have that happen, and maybe people will pick up the puck and start coding on them. I think. And I've mentioned this before to other people, maybe not on air, but I think a lot of people aren't ready for legacy altcoins that nobody talks about anymore getting picked back up by developers because there's a lot of work already done, and it's relatively small community to kind of control in that sense of what to implement and how to progress that blockchain technology forward to suit the needs of whoever's trying to revive it. So like when you look at companies and corporations, they may not have to create their own or partner with anybody because there might be abandoned blockchains that they could just adopt.
Yep. And actually, like, since you started talking about legacy coins that are picking their stuff back up, I've talked to a guy to a community lead from Potcoin who haven't had any significant updates since 2015. And right now they're cooking something up which is planned to be really awesome. And I gone for them real hard. I believe that like they're really cool. They're a really cool community and they have a really nice goal in mind. And it's just like mind blowing. They've been pretty much stagnant for what, 4 years? I mean, they're
You're hitting the nail on the head. So just keep going. Like you're totally on the ball here. Like I agree, I couldn't agree more.
yeah. I mean, like their coin did have utility and it did work, but now the times are coming. Like you can't just walk around with an iPhone 4S forever. So they're like plugging in some really cool tech. They haven't told me what. So,
I've talked to
but
the Potcoin team myself. Actually, I love those guys, and I think they're out. Like the people I know, they're out of Quebec, so they're my Canadian bros up there. And Potcoin was too early for its time. Like I mean, regulation speaking, it was way too early. We didn't even have recreational cannabis or medical cannabis really at the time of its conception. And when it started to really get some traction with Dennis Rodman, wearing the Potcoin shirt, and I think it was like North Korea. We've just started to really get a taste of what recreational cannabis looked like, even here in the U.S. and Canada. It's completely legal now, where Potcoin's basically based out of. So, like, I think they have an opportunity to really use their legacy as a footing for that cannabis industry, because there's cannabis coins popping up left and right. But legacy is the most important thing in blockchain, period. And that's why Bitcoin is the most successful and will always be, because of its legacy.
yep, exactly. And I talked to Josh. Do you know Josh? Josh in the city, the Potcoin guy.
I talked to them on Twitter, so like it's whoever's running that Twitter account, and I think it jumps between two people.
Okay. Yeah, and he told me how Potcoin came to be, and I think for me it was really touching because those were just guys smoking J's, playing in a band who were like really passionate about crypto because they found out about it and they wanted to know more. So Josh described himself as a Bitcoin groupie. So he just wanted to make a big like he just wanted to make something that he was passionate about and what would also like help out other people. And I think that's really commendable and it's really nice of him.
Yeah, I used to play around with Potcoin early on. They had their mobile wallet and stuff, and I was always gonna like. I was excited that like one day I'm gonna be able to get a gram for like one Potcoin or something at a dispensary, and it wasn't even a dispensary at the time, and now that things are lining up for the cannabis world and the crypto world, like Potcoin I think has a perfect storm for contributing to mass adoption, and it's it is what it is. It's a pot coin, so it's an interesting pitch to a dispensary, especially if you think along the lines of like a loyalty or rewards coin. You know, if I
Hmm.
go to a dispensary and I drop $100 and I can get one pot coin, and one pot coin is redeemable for 1 gram of like their supply or whatever they grow,
Hmm.
like their house stash, that's utility. And that's really all it takes to provide utility to Potcoin is that one agreement, that one nod from a dispensary. It's like, you know what? Yeah, we'll do that.
I think that like something like that is bound to happen. I don't know,
Inevitable.
like maybe not in 2020, but it will happen
I know
because
Dash was working on stuff too. I think it was like Alt 16. I seen that they were attending a lot of cannabis conferences, and I didn't see much come from that. And you know that had a lot of Dash proposal money throwing at that, and not much that I've seen fruition from the Alt 16 cannabis partnerships in the Dash community. I know 2 years ago it was like a really hot topic, and it kind of just got brushed under the rug as what I would consider now fake news.
well, I mean, Dash would work like Dash would work pretty well as a privacy coin. Because like the original like Potcoin's original goal that they had in mind was to bypass governments and bypass bank account blockages. So Dash would work really well, but since they're sort of like sweeping it all under the rug, no one knows what's going to happen, right?
And well, I think because of the privacy option with the Dash, it's going to deter the cannabis industry from adopting it because they're already walking a very fine line with regulations as far as what's stately legal and federally legal. So to be walking on that line of already not sure when the feds are going to knock on their door and then using something like a privacy coin doesn't really help their case, you know. And I think they're more so looking to get around the cash based business model that they're forced into. You know, like
Hmm.
these dispensaries are giant honeypots. Like, fuck robbing a bank. Just go rob a dispensary. You'll get weed and money. Like, win win.
Nice. I
I'm
mean,
not
yeah,
saying the rob a dispensary. Holy shit! I gotta do that disclaimer before I get like demonetized or my channel deleted or something. But like, you know, that is what it is. They're very. I mean, you have to pay your taxes in cash. So somebody's leaving that dispensary with a shit ton of cash in their trunk. You know, at least once a month.
well, you got to be civil to dispensaries. Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Right? Yo, I was in Vegas and I went to Planet 16, and
Hmm.
it's huge. It's a huge dispensary. It's like the size of a mini mall. They have their own food court in the dispensary.
Wow, holy
Yeah,
shit.
it's that big. And I went 3 different times when I was in Vegas, and each time I got the cashier to download a Monarch wallet. I gave them a little bit of Bitcoin, and then I showed them where they could spend it in Vegas because there's a few businesses that actually just accept it right at the register. Did you know there was a cryptocurrency Italian restaurant right around the corner from the Cosmopolitan the whole week?
No shit.
Huge. It's huge and has a big ass Bitcoin logo on it, and it's like Crypto Venti something Italian restaurant, and it's like all Bitcoin themed and everything.
I was not aware. Why hasn't anyone told me?
I
That's
saw it on my last day on my way to the airport. I drove by and I'm like, what the what? Where was this? No, we could have had a fucking meetup or an after party at this place.
exactly. And I don't know why, like why people who run the conference, why they haven't thought of that. That would have been so
You know
awesome.
why? I think those people would want the restaurant to pay them, right, to be part of the conference or to have the attendees be channeled there. I think that's the only thing that makes sense. Otherwise, I mean, they're Vegas people. They would have known, hey, Bitcoin Italian restaurant around the corner. Go check it out.
It's all about business, not about people.
Well, that's a lot of these all of these conferences pretty much are fiat conferences, right? They don't really hodl Bitcoin, right? They're all using these portals that take crypto and immediately exchange it into fiat. You know, Consensus made millions, I believe like 20 million, something like that, millions of dollars, but in fiat. So all the Bitcoin people spent on tickets to conferences like Consensus and potentially conferences like World CryptoCon, all that money spent is directly going to fiat. It's not contributing to the pool of Bitcoin. If these events ended up actually holding it and using it and things like that, but they're not. It's a lot of cash grab stuff. But that's
Yeah, and
business, right? That's business.
it's pretty sad, but I do have to admit that paying for conferences in crypto is a lot more convenient than paying them in like wire transfers. Because when you're doing like you're paying a conference that's in the States, out of Europe, that's a lot of pain, honestly. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't even agree with the amount of money conferences charge booths for their presence. I believe that they're not considering the value that a booth provides to a conference at some level. Even if it's a new project that's looking to gain something from being a presence there, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but the average I've heard from speaking to people is about $10,000 for an average size booth at a venue that recently has only had a very, echo chamber like vibe to it, where I've been to hundreds of conferences in the past 2 to 3 years, and I see the same faces. 80 to 90% of the attendees are all the same people at every event. We got about 10 to 20% of new faces. And like you mentioned, it's all B2B, venture capitalists just looking for something that they can make a quick buck off of. And I feel bad that these conferences extort projects like your own, for tens of thousands of dollars, where they know that there is no way that you're going to make $10,000 in anything back from being at that event. Like, you can't make, there's just, it's not possible. So therefore, I think we as a community should start doing more of these like pop-up conferences.
yeah, that would be really great because from like we've been to 5 events this year so far, and I think the average amount we've had to pay for being like for having a booth and like a pitch or a speech or keynote, whatever, was $15,000,
That's
like
ridiculous. That's
dollars, euros, whatever.
that's not
And
right.
while I do understand that like these conferences are profiting off of attendees, and that's okay.
Well, they're
I
making money hand over fist. You're paying $15,000 to have a booth and have a speaker be heard by who? If they just had the doors wide open, you'd be getting your money's worth, and they already got paid. But they want to get paid by everybody from every end, and at some point, it just feels like they're not contributing anything really. I know that they organize the events, but $15,000 is all I believe that they paid for that room for the 2 days World CryptoCon existed.
I guess, yeah, you're right.
And they have 30 booths. There was 30 different booths. That money
And
really starts to add up.
and they were all really tiny, and they charged extra for like every sneeze and every hiccup and everything. So
Yeah.
like the default experience that you had was like a booth which was draped in black all over. And that's it. You had to provide your own backdrop, you had to provide your own roll-ups, you had to provide your own like.
No, see, when you pay that much for a booth, they should provide you with the pop up banner that springs up. They should provide you with, an option for bracelets or some kind of swag for the booth. But then they put it all on your lap to do all that as well. Like,
Yep. So in total, I believe on World CryptoCon we've spent around 25K, I think.
see, and
$25,000.
I appreciate the investment in yourselves and in contributing to the community. It's amazing that projects, do this for the industry, and I wish we could shame these organizers into being more reasonable, but unfortunately, with the way consensus kind of sets the standard, these events can pretty much get away with financial murder.
I guess, and I mean, it's kind of, I could say it's kind of worse in America because we've been to some events in Europe, and for the same price, you could get like a big booth with like artwork already printed, and you would have a keynote with an audience with people that
With an audience. Yeah, unfortunately there was like 10 to 20% of the seats filled for every speaker.
yeah, exactly. I mean, there was Bobby Lee speaking, like Charlie Lee's brother, the CEO of Belay Wallet, that's like pretty new. The guy who pitched Bitcoin to Bruce fucking Willis. He was there on the stage. There were like three people sitting there listening to him.
I know. I heard, and I feel bad personally for not being there for Lynn, but Lynn Ulbrich, Ross Ulbrich's mother, she did her speech, and I heard there was only one person that showed up to listen to her talk about free Ross, and that breaks my fucking heart.
Yeah,
It's
that's
just, and that's insane that these events can get away with those kinds of things, but I've been the worse and I've been the better, and I can't say World CryptoCon wasn't great. I just don't think it's worth what they charge for their tickets or what they charge for their booths. And I do believe, since they're in a fucking casino, like, seriously, think of this, guys. We had Coin Agenda, we had IQ Trade, we had Litecoin Summit, we had a hackathon, and we had World CryptoCon. 5 conferences in 5 days in the Cosmopolitan. You know how many people were in the Cosmopolitan that were just wandering around, that just could have walked in to a free educational experience of cryptocurrency? That would have exponentially increased the value that they could provide as a conference organization for the booths and for the speakers. It wouldn't have hurt anything from anybody who actually bought a ticket. And even if they announced that second day's free, it wouldn't hurt anything to let people fly into Vegas, and maybe they didn't pay for the first day, but the second day it's free. But they don't do these things, and it makes absolutely no sense that you have a keynote to be on stage and you're speaking about mass adoption and how we can get newcomers into crypto. Meanwhile, there's newcomers outside that don't even know about this, but they can't because there's a velvet rope with a $3,000 ticket in front of it.
Yeah, exactly. And like in these conditions, it just sounds like businesses, patting each other in the back.
It's a circle jerk for sure. It's an
Exactly.
echo chamber circle jerk. Hey, if I show you, will you show me? If I invest in you, will you invest in me? That's all that happens at these things.
And it doesn't really accelerate adoption in any way because, like, okay, we've showed each other and that's all cool. We've gotten exposure and shit like that. But it doesn't influence no coiners, like people who are like just sitting there ready to learn about crypto, ready to experience it, but they can't do it because they don't know how. Because all people are doing are like going to fancy conferences like B2B events and talking about how cool they are.
Right? And that's why I really liked what Litecoin Summit did. Because I will say this, the World CryptoCon booth was cash only. What Litecoin Summit did for mass adoption, it was small, but it was amazing. They had the Spendin from Flexa. They had a booth called Spendin. They
Yeah.
had, there was, oh, I forget the name of the ATM machine. Amina reminded me of it yesterday, too.
Coin flip?
CoinFlip. See, thank you. So they had Spendin, CoinFlip, and they had the Litecoin swag booth. And they accepted cash, but they were also giving incentives and discounts for crypto purchases. So
Yep.
if you had
Exactly.
cash, you could go to the CoinFlip ATM, and they had a partnership with Spendin. So you would just type in Spendin in the ATM. It would give you like 20% off, which is like a really good increase in the amount of crypto you can get. So you're already making money off of that. And then you can go to the Litecoin booth and spend that crypto that you just bought using the Spendin app and get a discount off your purchase. So you're making money again. So there was a big incentive and a really cool like triangle of like step by step by step to actually how to get in and out and use it. And I think more conferences should set their areas up like that, where there's a place that is selling things or doing things with the actual currencies we're talking about, and then right next to it there's an on and off ramp, and right across from that is the utility product like Spendin, where the app is so simple. You can walk into a Dunkin' Donuts right now and buy your coffee with Litecoin. It's super easy, and it's like amazing to see things like the Litecoin Summit like really step the game up. So like I got to
Yeah.
give those guys respect, because that was like my opinion, my favorite part of the blockchain week in Vegas was the Litecoin Summit.
I mean, I wish there were more people to appreciate it because, well, there were a lot of like pretty awesome folks. I kind of wish there were more because Litecoin Summit definitely deserved it.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
like also speaking of CoinFlip, we are probably integrating with them fairly soon so that you would be able to buy like a lot of other altcoins, like more obscure Litecoins with the ATMs, which is pretty cool.
Cool. Cool. Cool. I guess we can wrap things up here. Anything that you wanted to touch on that we didn't really get to talk about?
Well, I mean, we've talked about pretty much everything that I was sort of planning on saying. What I do want to say, however, is thank you so much for having me on the show, Ken. You're the man.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been really fun. Like, this has been very, very real. And when it comes to Change Now, you can follow us on social media. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at P Shangett. You can ask me any types of questions, and I'll be happy to answer them. And maybe we'll meet again soon.
Yeah, I try to go to a lot of events, so I'm sure our paths will cross. And if there's any updates or anything to change now or now payments, feel free to schedule another day to come on the podcast. Completely open source. Anybody can schedule. It's on my Twitter pinned tweet, and I invite everybody. So it's first come first serve when it comes to scheduling, just so everybody knows. And yeah, shout out to Rob D in the chat. Much whoa, bro. Like, you guys killed it. And oh, Rob D, you're the one who got the coin flip team involved with the summit. Respect, bro, because I talked to those guys, and what they were up to is really interesting. I mean, I think a lot of these Bitcoin vending machines are going to be really important when it comes to building the cashless society of the future. You know, we're
Yep.
going to need there's always going to be people that don't have a smartphone that need cash, and this, that, or the second, or things that will cause for using paper money. I love Bitcoin, I do, but I really don't believe we'll ever see a cashless future, because we'll always have nots, people that don't have identification, or people that don't have smartphones or technologies, or people that don't even have a home to live in, let alone
Yeah.
a smartphone to use digital currency. So if your business said Bitcoin only, the people that can't afford to experience your quality of financial freedoms get left out of the services and goods of that. So just keep that in mind, guys, when we're building the future, that we might not be able to bring everybody into our experience of what the future is, and we can't leave them out. So we can't just say, fuck those who can't get a smartphone and use Bitcoin. Unfortunately, those people are in the dozens of billions. Like 2 to 4 billion people are like unsmartphoned and undocumented and everything else. So think about those guys. Don't be so privileged, and definitely let me know what you guys think of the project. We're gonna go ahead and check that out. Let me know what you guys think of Change Now and what they're up to, and check out the Now payments if you have a small business, or like you said, Shopify soon, right? So like that's gonna be a really cool thing for people to set up and just play around with it, you know. And let me know what you guys
Yeah.
think.
I mean, it's like really late stages of development right now, I believe. So it'll come out fairly soon.
Oh, I see you, Rocker. How goes it? We're on our way out, man. You missed the show, but don't forget you can hit rewind. Don't forget to click the button that looks like this. This thing. Click that button. Share this out. And as always, everybody, have a day. This is my outro. This is the outro. You're listening to an outro about monarchtoken.io. And shout out to my sponsor, Divi Project, the Divi Project. That's diviproject.org for sponsoring the podcast. I love you guys. Have a day.